Hello everyone and welcome back to another video of our Autodesk Inventor professional tutorials. In this video, we're going to talk about feature patterns. If you have subscribed to the videos, to the channel, if you have been following the videos from the beginning, first of all, thank you. Thank you for your support. And I'm sure you also remember that in this tutorial, we had another video in which we covered the sketch patterns. The feature patterns under the 3D modeling tab also available, and we will use patterns in the assembly mode too, by the way. But a lot of CAD users often prefer feature patterns rather than sketch patterns. And that is consistent with what we said as the general rule of thumb, which is simple sketches, complex 3D models. That's always going to be in your favor if you follow that rule. If it's always going to help you be more efficient and accomplish the design with less clicks and less time. So we're going to give some examples for the rectangular pattern, circular pattern, mirror pattern, and sketch-driven pattern, which is the only difference, I think, if we compare this menu with the sketch patterns. So let's just draw a simple geometry. Let's use the 2-point center rectangle, and let's say it is a square, 100 millimeters by 100 millimeters. And now let's finish that sketch and right click extrude, and let's extrude it by 10 millimeters. And now this is a very common example every time anybody talks about patterns, really, just creating a simple feature, and let's just use the rectangular, circular, and mirror patterns using that feature. So we're just going to do that to go over the feature, the selections, and then we're going to look at different examples to understand what else we can do with it. So let's start with rectangular pattern. And for that, let's create a 2D sketch on this face, and let's right click and project geometry. That way we're taking advantage of the edges of the 3D object that already exists, so we don't have to draw them up again. So now we can just draw a 2-point circle and say that this circle is 10 millimeters away from the left edge and 10 millimeters away from the top edge, and it is 5 millimeters in diameter. Let's finish that sketch and also apply an extrusion to that little circle there. And at this point, if you're learning how to use a CAD software, it is common that you might accidentally click something that you don't want to extrude. In this case, I just intentionally clicked the outer section there, which is a profile that I don't want to extrude. I just want to extrude the hole there. If that happens, you don't have to start over. You don't have to cancel and extrude again. You can just hold down the control button on your keyboard, and this minus sign will appear next to your cursor, which means that it's just gonna, whatever feature, whatever profile you select, that's just gonna be removed from your the extrusion menu. Right now it says two profiles because we selected the whole and the outer section of the whole too. So let's click on this area. Now that extrusion is removed, which is something we didn't want anyway. So now it's down to one profile, which is what we want. So now we are extruding the hole, but it's adding material. So let's just flip that. That way it is cutting material. And of course, just to be consistent with our design, let's just make a through also. It cuts all the material on its path. Now we have this simple feature added to our design. We have this square plate with a 10 millimeter extrusion, and we added this hole. Now let's use the rectangular pattern. It is a very simple menu. It's very similar to the patterns we looked at in the sketch mode. So now the first information that Inventor needs is the feature you want to use in your pattern. The feature you want to pattern. So in this case, it's the hole. So we can come to the design and highlight the hole in the design, and we can select it that way. But also we can always come to the browser tree, and this extrusion 2 is the one that we use to create the hole. So now we can just click on that, and that way the feature is selected. Now the second information we need to provide is the direction of the hole. Now, for example, first we have to highlight that. Now direction 1 is active, so it is waiting for us to assign a direction. You can always select this face too. For example, if I select this face, it's just gonna, the hole is gonna be created upward. It's gonna go up, whatever the face is looking at. If I select this left face, it is going to, the whole pattern is gonna be created towards the left side. But the most common use of this is selecting an edge. So I can select this edge or this edge, in a vertical or horizontal edge, for example. I'm just going to select this horizontal edge. Right now, this, as you can see, the preview of the pattern is created, and there is a green arrow showing me the direction of the pattern. And this is just, the default, direction that it created for me. I can just flip that. And I could now, because I don't want it to go to the other way because I don't have enough material there, I want it to go to this side. So that's why I clicked on flip here. That way the direction of the pattern changed. And I can change the count of the whole features that I want to create in this pattern. For example, I can add 9 holes. I can add 5 holes. I can add 2 holes, 3 holes. Let's add 12 holes. Now, as you can see in the preview, it is creating too many holes. I don't have that much material there. So let's go back to 9 holes, and that looks good. And also I can of course change the distance between these holes. From the center point of the first hole to the center point of the second hole, it's 10 millimeters right now. I can change that to 20 millimeters. It's going to be far apart, and I can change it to 5 millimeters. I can change it to 8 millimeters. I can keep modifying it and look at the preview and see if I'm getting the end result I want to get. So let's just go back to 10. I can always, for example, change the quantity to 10 and reduce the distance between them is to 9. I can keep playing with it until I accomplish what I want to accomplish. Let's go back to 9 holes with 10 millimeter spacing in between. Right now, as you can see, there is this drop-down menu. The default selection is spacing, which means that it's basically the 10 millimeters that you are using here is the space between 2 holes, and you can change that to distance. For example, right now it is trying to put 9 holes in 10 millimeters of distance. I can change that to 80 to accomplish a similar geometry. For example, right now from the first center point to the last center point, it's 80 millimeters, and it's basically trying to squeeze 9 equally spaced holes in between. And that really depends on your priorities with the design. And sometimes you want, your priority is adding a certain quantity of holes. In that case, you might want to just focus on, distance here. And then I have this much distance to put this many holes. So you just put the distance and it generates equally spaced holes. Sometimes you select the spacing. You just care about the spacing between each hole. And, you don't care about how many you can fit as long as, you maintain that spacing. So it really depends on what you want to do. Let's just go back to 10 millimeter spacing with 9 holes. And of course, as you click OK, these holes will be generated. Now, rectangular pattern is created in the browser tree, and you can see, as you can see, there's a plus sign next to it. If you expand that, you see each occurrence is listed under the rectangular pattern in the browser tree. And you can't really go into these things. This is just showing you each occurrence. You can just highlight them and inspect them if you want. And there's also a features, the folder generated for you. You can expand that and see what feature is consumed to create this rectangular pattern. In this case, it's the extrusion 2. It's also listed up here, but also under rectangular pattern, it is showing you that this is the feature that is used as a reference. So now we create this rectangular pattern, and then we can of course double click on the icon and go back in it, and now we can keep changing it or keep modifying it, or we can also add a direction 2. If I highlight direction 2, now I can again come back and select a face or an edge. In this case, I want to select this vertical edge. Now it is showing me that I don't want to go up, obviously I want to go down, and because that's where I have the material. And now I can enter another 9 holes. It has given me this fault. It's not a fault, it's not an error, it's just a warning saying that you are about to create large number of occurrences that might require a lot of computing power. So it gives you this warning. You can always say that don't ever show this to me again during this session or ever. But I'm just going to click OK for now, and because I'm fine with creating this many holes, so I'm going to create 9 more rows here, again 10 millimeter apart. I can again keep changing things like that and then inspect it that way too. So then click OK, and all these holes are created. And there's one more option to look at. That's why I'm just going to click undo here and go back to rectangular pattern. There's one more selection box here, which is the midplane. Not very commonly used, but again, it is available for us to use if we ever see any need for it. If you click on it, it uses the feature, the reference geometry, the hole we created as the midplane, and creates additional holes on both sides. Like it kind of acts as the mirror. So it puts 4 holes on the right side, 4 holes on the left side. That way you still accomplished 9 total of 9 holes, and 10 millimeter apart from each other, and but you create it using the original hole as the mid plane. So that's also, this is also a toggle. You can go back and forth and see the preview and see if that's what you want to use for your design. So again, we can just use these features and create rectangular patterns. And a lot of times in many trainings, the hole, using a hole and creating a rectangular pattern with the hole is the most commonly used example. But and it's just to explain why uh, feature patterns are more preferred than sketch patterns. I would like to use a different example to kind of like you know, just understand it a little bit better and explain it a little bit better. So imagine that I want to design, I don't know, some kind of feature that I will continue to modify. I will add stuff, I will extrude it, I will maybe add a bunch of stuff to it. Just to make up an example, let's say I sketch on this face, I project that geometry, and let's say I draw this rectangle here. Let's just quickly dimension it. Let's say it's maybe 3 millimeters in thickness, and then 8 millimeters in length, and then it is about 10 millimeters away from this corner and 10 millimeters away, 20 millimeters away from the top side. Let's say I created this block, and let's change this to maybe 15 millimeters in length. I created this, and let's say I apply a modeling action to it. Now I just created this tab right here, but I want to continue to modify this. Let's say I add some uh, sketch on this side and I project that geometry. Let's say I accidentally clicked on undo, I'm sorry. And then I go to spline and I create this weird shape, and then I finish that geometry and then I extruded that for whatever reason. And then let's say I applied a fillet on that side. On this side, I applied a fillet. And then maybe I added a chamfer. Again, I'm not trying to make sense here, but I'm trying to complicate the design intentionally. For whatever reason, let's say this is what I designed here, and maybe some kind of a hook or whatever, and something. Maybe I want to put another one next to it, and something goes in between. But let's say I want to pattern this, and I can use the rectangular pattern, and now I can select everything on the browser tree easily. I can select this extrusion. I know that I added another extrusion, I added a fillet, I added a chamfer. I selected everything, right? Now I can determine the direction of it. I want it to go to that way, and then let's say I want it to be 10 millimeters apart. Sorry, 3 of them 10 millimeters apart. Let's put 4 of them actually, and then let's change that to 8 millimeter apart and click OK. Now, I didn't have to redo everything, all 4 of them. If I did this, if I used this rectangular pattern, you know, in the sketch mode, I would have just patterned the rectangle 4 times, and I would still have to apply modeling action or make modifications on the design, and maybe still use the rectangular pattern. So that would have been a lot of clicks. Instead, I just, you know, again, used a simple sketch, created one rectangle, and then I modified it. I used some odd shapes, like I used a spline, and I added fillets and chamfers, and I was able to just pattern the whole thing. This kind of looks like maybe if we change the design a little bit, it's kind of like a toothbrush holder, you know, something. If we just kind of made it like a hook a little bit, and you know, you would be able to kind of push your toothbrush in, and it would stay there if we change the design a little bit. But imagine that you're doing this for 10 toothbrush, you know, for whatever reason, and you know, you don't want to just add fillets and chamfers in each one of them and worry about, you know, missing a spot, or, you know, drawing sketches for each one of them or trying to create sketch patterns. Instead, you do it once using one rectangle and make all your modification for that one, and then create a pattern based on that one. And let's say you want to do a set here. Let's say this, you want to have 4 here, but uh, at a certain distance you want to have another 4, and you can pattern the pattern. You can click on rectangular pattern, and you can select this whole pattern right here, and then select the direction of it, change it, and then let's say this time it is 50 millimeters away, and now select that. Now you created another 4 on the right hand side. So again, like as you can see, there are a lot of features, a lot of modifications on this, even though it looks simple. And I, instead of doing it 8 times, I was able to just accomplish the same thing in seconds with minimal amount of clicks. And that's why creating the patterns in the 3D modeling tab, creating the patterns of features is more preferred by a lot of designers. But it's okay to use the sketch patterns and get familiar with it because the menus and the selections and the input that Inventor requires all the same. And I'm sure you can guess that in the assembly mode, you can also create patterns with the components you add to the assembly as well, so which happens all the time. A common use of that is the fasteners, like screws and bolts. So we're gonna go over that as well. And again, with the feature patterns, we can add a hole and then we can pattern that hole as well, just to, instead of just clicking everywhere to create the hole, we can keep doing that. We can just use the rectangular pattern to accomplish that goal. This video already has reached 15 minutes, so I actually wanted to cover circular and mirror patterns in this video as well. But let's just do the second video because we explained a lot with the patterns of the features. I'm just going to end the video here, and the next video we're going to talk about mirror, circular, and sketch-driven pattern this time. It's a new pattern that we didn't talk about before. We're going to cover that in the next video and move on to more exercises and before we jump into the assembly mode. So thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and comment, and please subscribe to the channel. Your support means so much to us, and we are honored for every time we get an email from you. And if you need any design help or anything, again, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Our team would be happy to help you. Thank you. Have a good day.